specifically in India. Fashion.
Oh, I thought you had more to say.
Oh, I was gonna say more, but I don't know. I was waiting for
No, go
like,
ahead,
oh
go
yeah,
ahead. Keep
okay.
going.
So what's been happening in India? I'm sure some of you have been talking about it. I'm sure some of you have been seeing it. Um, Again, I don't like it when Bashan is correct a lot, because I just have to always come in here and just give him his just due because he's right a lot of the times. And Bashan has been saying for a while that if people are not careful enough, we can be seeing a second wave of COVID, especially with a lot of these different variants going on, and it can be happening. And that's exactly what has happened in India. So, how did this even start? Well, back in September of 2020, the number of cases fell to 90,000, right? And some of y'all might be thinking, 90,000, wait, that's too much. But you have to remember the population of India is one of the most populated places in America. The population of 1.3 billion people, right?
In the world?
In the
You said
world.
you said in America.
No, I thought I said in the world.
No, no, in the world.
Okay. All right. 1.3 billion people, right? It's one of the most popular places in the world.
There you go.
So, January and February of 2021, that 90,000 cases fell again to 20,000. So, the prime minister decided to celebrate early and declare that India's beaten COVID. So, with a place as heavily populated like that, like India, people started coming out. People started showing out. People started not wearing their masks. The crazy thing about India and the fact that the prime minister tried to regulate social distancing and all that is I started to realize, Bashan, that social distancing is really a privilege. And the reason why I say that is because, of course, here in America, we can actually do that. We can actually try and practice social distancing, right? But in a heavily populated place like India with 1.3 billion people, it's pretty hard to do that, especially when you declare a defeat of COVID. And because of that, you're now starting to see a second wave of COVID cases. And in a day,
Yeah.
you saw in like 400,000 cases, like in
Yeah,
a single day. And
and
it's,
just kind of bounce on what you said. It's like because it's a big country, but they do have a lot of dense areas where
yes,
there's a lot
highly
of
dense
people
areas.
living next to each other.
Hmm.
So that's kind of like one of the aspects of what spreads it quicker.
Hmm.
And also, a lot of people think it's this is something I read into. A lot of people in India thought it was like a poor disease, like only poor people are getting it,
Hmm.
and that's the type of ignorance that kind of spreads it. Because when you have multiple classes of people not caring or taking it
As serious.
seriously,
Hmm.
then it affects everybody at home. And I've seen the footage; it's like really, really bad over there.
Yes, hospitals are they're having to turn away a lot of people because there's not that many people to fit in these hospitals. They're running out of oxygen, they're running out of filters, they're running out of beds, they're running out of everything in India right now due to the amount of cases that they have. Like people are just dropping
Yeah,
like
and
flies, literally. There's footages of that. And it's just so sad to see, and it's so sad to watch. And then you're starting to see a lot of India's shortcomings coming more into light, like healthcare.
yeah, so it kind of bounces back to how America was around this last year
Yeah.
and how there was. But let's talk about just New York because we live here, and they were just saying like, oh, is the problem room was like the hospitals were too filled. They didn't have enough ventilators for people to ventilators. Yeah,
Yes, ventilators. You're right.
people to breathe. They didn't have enough options for them to serve them, and that's kind of the shortcomings of New York City and Cuomo, and a lot of things that came onto the light, especially a lot of the nursing home problems and issues. So like that's just New York, right? We're New York City. We're a populated area, but that's just New York. But if
Hmm.
you can imagine like multiple times like 20 of what's going on in India, like it's very similar, but in the bigger load
Yeah.
over there. And it's as you said, it's a lot of the shortcomings. Like yeah, they could fix the issues but they will have to fix it maybe 5 years ago in order to
Mm-hmm.
prevent a lot of things,
Exactly.
especially in like hospitals and preparations and technology.
Yeah, and only 20 million people are have been fully vaccinated in India, which doesn't really help that much. I mean, it's not even that much of a dent,
Yeah,
really.
per
With
capita, it's pretty small.
it's pretty damn small. It's really small. So it's just really sad to see all of that stuff happening. And that's why I really felt like we should talk about it at least, because you already know me. I'm half Indian. This is definitely heartbreaking to just watch and see. And Brown Twitter, it's been talking about this for months now. So that's why I wanted to bring that up a lot.
Yeah. And it kind of transitions back to what I was saying, like the past 2 weeks, about how the U.S. government, and also what I said about Bill Gates earlier, how they don't want the IP to go to other hands, other companies
Mm-hmm.
around the world. Hence, they could start producing the vaccine at a quicker and faster rate than getting it out to people as quick as possible.
Yeah.
But recently, there was some news that Ambassador Catherine Tai recently sent a provision so they will be able to, so the U.S. will be able to support the waiver of IP protections on the COVID-19 vaccines to help end the pandemic around the world, and that's what they're trying to do right now. It
Mm-hmm.
hasn't gone through. They are sending it to the WTO, the World Trade Organization.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very important. This is something that should have been done long ago. And same day, pretty much probably earlier, maybe 2 days ago, someone found a very old clip of Biden talking to people, and they're asking, it's like, hey, if we find the vaccine, will you waive or make sure that it doesn't have like IP protection? And he said yes, no hesitation. So because he hasn't done it so quickly,
Mm-hmm.
and he hasn't had any answers to it within the past 3 months, and it's still early, right? But it
It
should
is
be
still early.
something. It should be something like priority number one, because vaccines for United States is priority number one,
Of
and
course.
we are now dealing with an issue where people don't want to take it. Is there still hesitancy due to just like lack of information, social
Conspiracy
media,
theorists.
conspiracy theorists? It's all adding up. Like the people that wanted to take them, if you remember a couple months ago, people were just like dressed up as an old man because they want to take the virus, the vaccine.
Right.
But now in America, they're struggling to get people to take the
Yeah.
vaccination shot. And we have other countries, just like in India, it's just like, hey, we need more vaccines here. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a privilege,
It is
right?
definitely a privilege. Hell,
At the end of the day,
you even have my country of Trinidad going back on lockdown due to increase of COVID cases. And yeah, they don't have that much vaccines and they want vaccines so they can open up again.
good question,
Yeah.
because here's the like Caribbean comparison. In Haiti, it hasn't really been out there in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what makes Haiti a little bit different from other Caribbean countries is Haiti has a very large young population. How is the population via versus like old people to young people in Trinidad?
That is a great question, Bastion. And honestly, I don't know, bruh. I haven't been there in a minute. I can't
Gotcha.
tell you. I don't know. I don't know what the population between old and young are. I can definitely say there's a lot more older people though than young people.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. So
Definitely.
they have a lot more. Oh, also it's from what I remember, it's like the way tradition is. Like the old people will kind of stay, and they have to be taking care
Exactly.
about their kids.
And it is still cool for grown ass adults to live with their parents. Like it's fine. Like it's not an issue
No, the
there.
parents live with them, right?
No, you could still live with the
You
parents.
still your parent. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was just a
And
joke.
then when you get married, then you know what I'm saying. Then we get
But
married.
then your parents live with them.
There you go. Yes. Yes.
But yeah, that a lot is happening right now, and it kind of shows the privilege between like United States, and
Mm-hmm.
especially this is focus on it, like New York City 1 year ago today, and now it's like this is what's going on in other parts of the world. They're getting their second wave, third wave even. So What more could we talk about? We're going to tend to like repeat the same thing over and over. We could be repeating this next year around this time, talking about 2 years ago, New York City was crazy. You know,
I think. Well, I mean, New York City is supposedly opening in full force now in July, according to Mayor De Blasio. Cuomo hasn't made it official, but this is De Blasio's plan of he wants to open up the city 100% in July.
in July. Interesting. Good question. When you got the COVID vaccine, which one did you get?
I got the
Again?
Pfizer.
The Pfizer. Interesting, because Moderna recently reported that they're going to work on their third booster shot, which will take in consideration all the new variants that came. So you're getting a new Windows XP update.
Well, even with the Pfizer too, the dude who created Pfizer said we're gonna have to eventually take another shot within like a year too, and I'm assuming that's for all the different variants that are out now, especially the one that came from the UK too.
Yeah, that's what's hitting New York right now. Look, quick thing, just to kind of intersect what's going on in like the business world in terms of stocks. So when I was talking about United States removing IP, like Pfizer stock and Moderna stocks actually went down.
Tanked, yeah,
but not
bro.
really tanked. Not really tanked, because I could tell you they're worth a lot more now than they were a year ago, 2 years ago.
Of course.
But it did go down, and I thought that was just kind of funny to see how the sellers felt about it once they heard the news. Like, oh, what? They're not going to make money? Well, I guess I'm out. 'Cause I think Moderna made like over $1 billion off of sales. Don't quote me. I think it's like either over 100 million or $1 billion. I don't remember. I don't look into that, but I did see that news and thought it was very funny.
And since we're on stocks right now, man, I feel like I'm very fortunate and happy because, as a person who has invested some money into Dogecoin, you know what I'm saying? We out here. Dogecoin, we out here.
Those.